Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the Haunted Basement Studio. I'm your host, Triple B, and in today's comic book story review, we're going to go back in time to the Warren Publishing with Vampirilla number 37, She Who Waits. And let's see what type of confrontation Vampirilla gets into this time. In the middle of the night, an intruder walks into Vampirilla's bedroom as she's lying there sleeping. As he pulls out a stake to try to stab her, she wakes up and grabs him. And come to find out, this is Van Helsing. And he says, I need to know what you did with my son Adam. As Pendragon comes busting in, almost spilling his scotch. He's like, oh my God, you almost made me spill this. You know how scarce this alcohol is here in this region? And as he takes a drink of it, Van Helsing says to Vampirilla, what did you do to Adam? She's like, I didn't do anything to Adam. Tell me, show me what's going on. And as they make their way to where Adam is, into this hotel room, he is in some sort of trance. And he's got two puncture marks on his neck right here. But Van Helsing is certain that Vampirilla is behind this attack on Adam because he says, didn't you run out of your ingredients to make your special serum to control your bloodlust? And that's why you come to attack Adam, because he was unable to find him and you and Pendragon dropped your magic show just to come here. And she says, no, Adam was successful in finding the ingredients. This is something else. I would not do this. I certainly would never hurt Adam Van Helsing. But Van Helsing is not convinced with Vampirilla's words because he said, I had an intuition from across the globe, and when I got here, the front door was locked. The only thing that was open was the window where a bat can fly into. And in my psychic vision, I saw that Adam was enchanted by a woman with unhuman eyes, animal eyes, like yours, Vampirilla. But Pendragon is looking over at Adam and feeling his pulse, and he says, I fear, Dr. Van Helsing, that I know that you are a vampire hunter, but Adam's pulse is very strong, and that wouldn't be the case if Vampi drained all of his blood. And now in the dark corner of the room, we see a Cobra snake who got frightened when Van Helsing come busting into the hotel door. And as it hides in the shadow, Vampirilla says, we need to get a physician in here. We need to get their opinion. And as they agree and leave, the Cobra snake slithers over to Adam Van Helsing and wraps his slippery, slimy body scales around his neck, and then transports him and takes him to the one who waits. And it's she who waits. And as Adam walks up to her with the snake cobra around his neck, she says, it's getting late. Now let's get to my temple so you can pay for what you have taken from me. And now as Vampirilla is talking to the hotel doctor, the doctor is confused and says, it sounds like he's gotten bit by a cobra snake. He shouldn't be in a trance. He should be dead. And then all of a sudden, Van Helsing's getting a psychic vision. He says, oh my God, Adam has been taken. And now they're deep dents in the jungle as Pendragon's like, oh my God, I smell something bad. They're there because they found a map in Adam's room where he was exploring to get that ingredients for the serum that Vampirilla needs so bad. And as Pendragon, what is that smell? All of a sudden they see a body up ahead and it is missing his head. And now Van Helsing has a vision when Adam was on his first exploration here in the jungle trying to get the ingredients for Vampi's serum. He said he fought a mammoth snake, and then how is all of a sudden with that snake getting killed, there is a person here, an actual human. And then Van Helsing says, I do remember, I know that there is some sort of cult of cobras going on here. As Pendragon opens up his flask and takes a drink and says, I'm so glad I brought my scotch with me. And now Van Helsing says it's the Cobra Whisperers. There's a queen there that can turn herself into a giant cobra, kind of just like how werewolf can. And then Vampirilla says, oh yeah, well if she has Adam, then we gotta get there. And she's not the only one that can transform too, as Vampirilla turns into a bat and says, I'm gonna go there and see what's happening. And now as Vampirilla is flying through the air, we see the Cobra Queen, and she's got Van Helsing Adam in a trance, and she says, you killed my mate, but you are pretty dang handsome, and maybe that I can replace you with him. And as the Cobra Queen lowers Adam down into the pit of the sacred cobras, they're going to use the venom transformation to make him no longer human. And the Cobra Queen says that you are going to replace him, the one that I love, the Cobra King. And now as Vampirilla lands hard on the ground in front of the temple of the Cobra Queens, she sends out a bunch of Amazon slaves to fight her. And as she's fighting them left and right, one of the slaves goes behind Vampirilla and gets ready to spear her. But as that happens, bam, Van Helsing shoots a shot from high away and up in the distance and kills the slave as Vampirilla is able to go into the temple. And Van Helsing says to Pendragon, I'm glad that your evaluation was for us to stay distant and elevated away. That gave me a great shot on this. And now as Vampirilla runs inside, the temple waits as the Cobra Queen has transformed herself into a giant cobra. As they are lowering Adam down into the pit with the sacred cobras, she says he will be my mate. And then what follows is violence, and it is terrible. Meanwhile, while Pendragon and Conrad is trying to get the rope and trying to get down to the temple, all of a sudden Vampirilla is curled up in the cobra's tail and body. And as the cobra's about ready to strike with her dripping fangs onto Vampirilla, Pendragon yells out, turn into bat form. And as she does, she flies away. As they were able to light a Mai Tai cocktail, bam! The freaking Cobra Queen burns down as Vampirilla's flying away in her bat form. They were able to save Adam as they leave walking in the forest, and Vampirilla says to Pendragon, I can't believe this is how much you really love me, because you sacrificed your entire bottle of booze over me. And he's like, you know what? I love you, girl. All right, man. Yo, whoa, well, bam, welcome back. All right, man, that was a good storytelling review. Tell me if you liked it. I guess my final thoughts on the issue was reading this and doing this thing for like a second time. Yeah, dude, I dig this thing. This thing was fun as hell. There's a little bit missing there at the end, but man, it was cool. I'm gonna give a solid 8 out of 10, man. 8 out of 10 on this one. Even the art, you know, screw it. I like the art. Art's a 7. There's some good vampy arts here in there. I'm not looking at it over here on my screen, you know. Got it up over there, but what a fun story. Dude, we did a review of this live up on the channel right there. I'll put the video up right there, and it'll be in the description box below. A whole hour review of this one. So go watch that one. Tell me what you think about this one down below. All right, man. Triple B's out of Haunted Basement Studio. I want you guys to remember one thing, yo. You keep it haunted. Comics.